Hello and welcome to the Art Department podcast. We're here again, Emmanuel in San Francisco, myself in Singapore, and we're going to talk about a trendy topic these days. We're going to go a little bit into, I think, a new social network, or not so new social network that everybody, I think, at least in artist circle, has heard about. So we're going to talk a little about Cara. We're going to talk a little bit about the founder behind Jingna, and also just, I think, generally about like social media madness that's going on right now. And there's a lot in there, I think, and we kind of want to start with why, of course, and maybe it's quite obvious, but I think everybody has kind of heard about what's going on with like Instagram and Facebook, and well, of course, the company behind it, right, Meta, and not only them, but like it seems like every company is rolling out some sort of new like terms and conditions AI thing, with of course the funny, what is it, like a caveat, like you have to opt out instead of opt in these days, right? So they're kind of hoping that you don't read the terms and conditions, and then just they're okay, like it's okay to like, what is it, like scrape your data or use your images or whatever you post, right, like your text and images and everything, your videos, to feed into whatever AI model they're using, right, for I don't know, potentially nefarious purposes, right? You never know really what's happening. It seems like though this kind of policy is very dependent on the country, right? Like Europe has like a lot of like data protection and options to like opt out of these kind of, or at least requests to be opting out. Whereas I think in Asia, it's a bit more, it depends on the country. And I think generally it's just not as easy. Like I didn't see any option like what people were posting about, like, okay, I can opt out of the data scraping. I didn't have that in Singapore at all. And I think friends in Japan also didn't have that option. I don't know how it was in the States for you.
Well, I mean, we have, there's been numerous videos on how hard it is to,
Right.
like opt out, and, everybody's, getting denied left, right, and center. And, but I understand that people are, upset, and I understand that people's need for, like, I don't want my data scraped, and I get it, because, that doesn't feel good. But I'm also concerned that it's sort of, it's our hunt for the next thing to be upset at, because I think a lot of people, me included, I think I used to be more like that. It's just, I got to find something wrong to fight. Because ultimately, in the end, if you look at it, and this may sound really defeatist and, not in the best way, but I think that if I put something online, I'm expecting it not to be private. And I'm honestly, if I can put it online, I think it's going to be used in some way. Like right now, it's being scraped, yes, and that's no good. I don't like that, and I wish it was opt-in, but it's not. But before, even before AI and scraping and all this stuff, I mean, if you think about it, people were taking my images and hacking it and putting in their paintings. That happened all the time. And I people would email me, go, hey, did you see that person, did that to your painting? And, look at that part's yours. I'm sure you've had that too. So
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I got better things to do with my time, because like, just going in and doing, looking at Meta and like how to email them, prove to them that, your data. And in the end, even if Meta says, oh, no problem, we won't scrape, they're going to scrape.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, that's just the way it goes.
I mean, it's such a tricky subject, right? Because, I mean, I think before, like you were right, like in saying that you put something online, right? And then one of your images, and then it finds its way somewhere on some like inspiration board, which is okay, I guess. And then, but yeah, some people will chop it up and use it in their own painting. I think there were very like high profile examples of that throughout the years. And there was always a lot of outrage, right, when it was noticed, and then you have like a scapegoat, and then I'm like, oh, so you're using it in your paintings and you're profiting off my work, kind of thing, right? But now I guess people are even more outraged that it's happening like on a corporate level, right? That these companies are like making money off like, well, the back of artists and that kind of stuff. It's just a very tricky subject, and how to say, like, I can't say that I'm okay with it, right? But like you said, how can we go about this? So there's like really brave people that are fighting the fight in the courts, right? There's other people that do something about it, right? Like in the case of Cara here, right? I feel often like useless, like in terms of like, well, I should really be doing something about it, but I really have no idea, and I have 100 other things to do. But like, there's something really disturbing about, I think it's just something really disturbing how these companies just kind of feel like they're doing whatever they want to do right now, and we don't really have much to hold against it. Like in the case of the opt-out, right? It's you're supposed to like opt out, and I guess you're supposed to prove that you're the owner of these images. But I guess no artist working in the industry, or like maybe like, I don't know, 0.01% actually has ever applied for like a copyright for these things. And then if you don't have that established, and also this depends on the country where you live and where you work, right? Then like, how can you prove that this is really yours, right? And I think the companies know that like it's like sometimes like a very gray area, right?
Well, so agreed, companies, they want to make money. So ultimately doing this to profit in the end. But in the end, they don't have your best interest. We know that.
Of course not.
At hand. But the truth of it is, if you really think about it, do you want to, there's a lot of different personalities, right? There's introverts, extroverts, there's people who are very vocal, who want to lead the charge. And there's people who, it's not that they don't know what to do. Like you say, I don't know what to do. But I think it's more like, maybe it's not in your nature to fight like that.
Right.
Everybody plays a different role in humanity, right? Some people are fighters, some people are leaders, some people are followers, some people are quiet on their own. I mean, everybody, you should embrace each person's personality. It's not like, okay, so that's why you see Carla, she's going full tilt because that's who she is. And I'm grateful for her. And I'm grateful that we have people representing us that are doing that. But I'm not like that because if I get in that mode of I'm going to fight, I mean, that's exactly the opposite of what I'm trying to do now, because that's my whole life. I've been fighting everything. And it completely makes me an angry person. It makes me miserable. It makes the people around me miserable. So now I'm trying to step back a little bit and go, well, do I really want to get angry? Because when you fight and when you're doing this online stuff, you're getting angry.
Right.
I mean, you're not
stressed,
just like, nonchalantly doing it.
No.
You're really doing it and going, I can't believe Meta's doing this to me. I can't believe And in the end, you get all worked up, and then that's your day.
Right.
You're not happy. And some people can compartmentalize that and no problem. I'm just that kind of a person. And that's why I'm grateful for these people. I'm just learning not to be angry.
That's
and
a very good
fight
point, yeah.
my ass off, So at this point, that's why I'm not like I don't care. Like I have an opinion, but I can't do anything about it. Like it's okay. You want me to sign a petition? I'll do it. You want me to donate to CCA for hiring a lawyer? I'll do that. But if you want me to just constantly submit these requests and then get angry and then talk to people and then, let's all get angry, and then you just pissed off. I mean, I want that energy to do art, to spend time with my family. I don't, and I'm going to give an example. I guess it's maybe a good segue into like Jingna.
Yeah.
Which is, she's the founder of Cara. And Jingna is a photographer. I've known her online, the online way for quite a few years, and we've messaged back and forth a lot of times. And she's a photographer, fashion photographer, a Singaporean fashion photographer. I think she's based in the U.S. now, but I think she was in Singapore.
Yeah, she was born there, I think.
Yeah. So the thing is, so for her, the big thing that would have probably come up on your radar is that um, somebody copied her photo, basically,
Right.
painted her photo, but
Right.
1-to-1. Only thing that was changed, it was mirrored.
Yeah, it was mirrored. Yeah.
And down to the strands of hair,
Yeah.
like the pose, you could overlay it onto each other, and it pretty much fit. And this was, this person had entered this into a contest, and I think in Luxembourg.
Yeah, and then he won, right?
And he won, some cash prize,
Yeah.
and the name and all that stuff. And Jingna, put it out there that, hey, look, this is not right, and she fought the fight. Now, what people don't understand is, and Jingna is very open and public about the fact that she has this has caused her a lot of mental stress, and she had a lot of mental stress, just even to begin with, as a person. She was fighting with a lot of this kind of stuff, and she, in a lot of her Instagram posts, she even says, like, I can't sleep now, I can't deal with this. This is becoming, really stressful, and ultimately they at first denied her when she said, hey, look, this is not right, and she got a lot of hate mail.
Oh yeah.
She got a lot of that. Whenever you put in an opinion like that, you're going to get hate mail. You're going to get love, but you're going to get hate too. And so they were just like, and she was now even more upset because, you're fighting something you believe in, and people are saying, no, you're wrong.
Right.
And so, she hired a lawyer, she went after them, and it took a while, but ultimately in the end, she won.
Right.
And, so I applaud her for doing that. But in a certain sense, it caused her a lot of mental damage. But, that's the thing is, do you fight for this? Do you not fight for this? When do you let it go? When do you not? That's all personal. There's no right or wrong here. But this, I think, caused her to feel like, hey, look, we need something else, someplace else to put our art so that it's not, being scraped. It's not, I don't want to look at AI art, and all that. I asked her to be on initially, and she said that she would love to, but unfortunately, she, as we revealed, Cara is so busy now that she's just putting out fires all the time. But that is really a big, proponent, of why she's doing this. So I know her intimately, and Cara has been around for like a year.
Right.
Because she had initially said, hey, you want to join the beta? I was like, yeah, let's try it, because, it's how our station got started, right? I mean, just join the beta and just put your stuff up and see if there's a community there. And I say it's more like an art station than it is an Instagram.
Right.
For me, at least, it's really somewhere to put your stuff, and that it's going to be seen by people that are artists.
Right.
And I think that's sort of the mission, right? And making sure that and you can like sort of, I think you can glaze on there. You get like a couple glazes a week or something,
right.
Something like that. I mean, I haven't really looked into it, but.
And glaze is a way for for the image to be like scrambled, like not visible to the human eye, but it's being scrambled so it can't be scraped by an AI bot or something, right? Like it can't be used for.
I think it's what it does is it confuses the AI.
Oh, okay.
If you say it's a cup, it might think it's something else, therefore giving bad results. So
it's like anthropomorphizing the AI to say it's confusing it, but it's like probably the most accurate description.
So then now there's this site Cara, and I think it's I always think it's a great thing when there's more choice, and if that choice is made by somebody who actually cares and comes from a point of view of, hey, I don't want your working scraped or ripped off, because that's what happened to her, not scraping, but ripped off. And I think she's trying to create something that is, she just got tired of having no place to go, basically. And so, I think Cara is something that is it's something you should look into. because it's another platform that I don't know that it replaces Instagram, depending on what your, like if you sell prints and stuff like that. I just don't know. Nobody knows yet, the reach. But I think now is always the best time to sign up for any site at the beginning, because you want to get some traction on Instagram now. It'll take forever anyway.
Yeah, well,
because it's
probably impossible at this point.
It's very, very hard, and the only I started Instagram way late, and so I don't have that much of anything there. But the thing is, with Cara, now is a good time to explore it. I mean, it went from like not a lot of users to like almost 1 million now, or maybe even past it. And
who knows, right?
they are scaling and having issues because they didn't anticipate that all of a sudden that you get like lately it's been like the battle of everything, right? Adobe, Instagram, like everybody's like just doing stuff that's pissing people off and wanting people to go, well, why don't you go somewhere else? And our station is always been like, a lot of people are like very anti ArtStation because of the AI stuff, and so I mean, maybe this is a place to go. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what you said, like it really depends, right? And I mean, so Cara, like you said, right? Like it went. I think it had what they said, like 30,000 or 50,000 like users. It built up to that within like it took like a year to get there, right? And that's I don't know, in terms of like social networks these days, it's probably like slow growth, right? But I think in an interview she said also like they weren't trying to actively like promote it during that time because they didn't really know like, okay, what it could be, right? And how to deal with this. But then like, as soon as that Meta thing came out, the like as soon as people got upset about these new like terms and conditions and stuff, and I think it went from 50,000 to at least like, I don't know, 900,000 users like within a week or something like that, and that's crazy, right? And I mean, I'm sure they're figuring out what they're gonna do now and how to scale, right? And of course, like there's a lot of things that are not working, or I mean, at least not working smoothly. We also live in a time where like everybody is used to get free stuff, and that everything free also works all the time, right? That's kind of what they're used to by, like, I don't know, when Threads got rolled out or other like big projects, right? And now that like something maybe doesn't work as smoothly because it's run by a small team of volunteers and they didn't expect this kind of explosive growth, then people are quick to complain, right? But we always have to kind of put things in perspective.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, it's like, of course, a lot of people, I mean, it's just so people understand, what is at stake here for Jingna. When you grow, like this is a site that needs a lot of, you need to put data up there, right? When you're uploading pictures,
the traffic,
data,
right?
Is storage, is traffic. So all that is times 10, 20, 30, from what she's anticipating, because she didn't really anticipate all of a sudden would go from 50,000 to 500, 700, 800,000. That's a big scale, and that's a lot of money.
Yep.
And I don't, I don't think that she anticipated that. Nobody could, right? I mean, nobody knew Instagram was going to do that.
Yeah.
And be, double down on stuff, and so it remains to be seen sort of what her sort of plan is, in sort of a business plan, right? I mean, but a lot of people are saying that it should they want a subscription plan,
maybe,
because ultimately in the end, if you gotta, what they say, right? If it's free, you are the product,
right?
So, having a subscription plan means you have a plan and you want to grow, right? Because if you don't have that, then where does the money come from? Or then you need to have advertisers or something.
Yeah, advertising, investors, right? And then ultimately you watering down your product, or you're losing control of it when you put investors in. So I guess we can't speculate on that. We don't know what her intention will be, right? If there's a subscription, like, there's going to be a lot of people who don't want to use it, right? Is it going to be completely subscription only? Is there going to be a free tier like ArtStation? I don't know, right? There's many different options and many different like advantages and disadvantages to that, right? And it remains to be seen what they want to do.
I mean, I think they're definitely looking into also, make sure that they're bringing in job boards and all that kind of stuff, so that
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, it's because
it's important, But you look at any site right now. I'm just opening it up, and you look at like latest. It's like it's everybody is just uploading whatever.
Yeah.
But that takes space, and that takes
it needs to be stored
money.
somewhere, right? The requests, the traffic. It's like people don't realize like how like a gigantic amount of like space this takes, because I mean you send it to the cloud, but I mean the cloud is just another server, right? So
and most people don't get that it's they don't get that it's
and
costs
how
a lot of money
and how expensive it is, right? Like and that's the thing, right? And while you sit around and think about what your business plan could be, like you have like 10,000 more people signing up within the hour or something like that, right? That's like, wow, try to make a cool-headed decision in that, like under that pressure, right? It's not easy. I want to talk a little bit besides the like business side of Cara, which we of course don't have that much like insight into. I want to talk a little bit about maybe about how to say, like you mentioned, like maybe Cara is a good place to Cara, I don't know, is a good place to explore right now. And I'm wondering, right? Like you said, they need to have maybe functionality that would invite like more hiring managers or art directors to look for people, or like the thing with it right now, and why I'm a bit apprehensive, and it's not had nothing to do with Cara itself. It's just my apprehension in terms of like new social networks and everything. And another thing which I need to dedicate time to, like building up a following and posting, right? And I'm always wondering, like, is it worth it? Like, should I be there as well? Well,
you're there.
I signed up, but I haven't uploaded anything, and I just don't know right now, right? Like, and I'm always wondering. I'm always an advocate for like be everywhere, right? Like kind of like you, like be everywhere. Like it doesn't make sense to focus on one social network and then try to build up a following only there, right? Because now we've seen that these companies can do anything they want with your data. And if they decide to change the algorithm, which is what they do all the time, then you're completely at liberty to, well, follow what the algorithm favors, or you're being left in the dust. And then a lot of people complain again. It's like, oh, why did Instagram change the algorithm now? Like my images are not being seen by anyone. It's like, yeah, because they don't care. They don't care about the individual user. They care about their bottom line, their investors, right? They need to see what gets the most engagement, what people are really looking at. And it's getting harder and harder to be seen for just making images or just making photos, right? Like everything is moving to like vertical format, reels, music, like my Instagram feed is full of just like game ads and stuff like that, and ads in general. And what I post, like we're having difficulty right now with the podcast to get the word out, because like the images and stuff is not seen by anyone. The engagement dropped massively, and we don't really know what to do about that, right? So putting all your eggs in one basket is never a good idea, right? But then at the same time, like, okay, I'm coming from a point of view like, okay, if I sign up here, what can I do, right? If I have to pay a subscription, what am I going to get back? I think people are going to look very much at like, if I pay $5, is it another place where I upload my pictures, or is there something else, right? And I think there's this thing, and I don't know if other people feel that as well, that this whole transition and this whole outrage thing, whether it's Adobe or Instagram, I feel like it's getting amplified by the fact that, well, the economy is not quite good. AI is like supposedly taking away a lot of jobs from creatives, right? Or a lot of jobs are being lost. A lot of people feeling the pinch, right? Companies are closing down, people are getting laid off, like AI is everywhere. And it comes down to like people really having existential crisis about their future in this industry, right? Whether it's writing, music, or like even, drawing, painting, and that kind of stuff, like digitally. And that's all very valid, right? And I'm wondering if there's a sense of like, okay, like we need to run away from anything Adobe, because like, I don't know, the grass is always greener on the other side. Like Cara is the savior kind of thing. And I'm wondering if people project too much of their personal wishes and expectations into it, and then getting maybe disappointed because Cara is maybe not the place where you're gonna get like hired right away. Maybe people think like, oh, I upload my stuff here and then like the job offers come in. Maybe people have that kind of expectations when they sign up for a new social network. Maybe Cara doesn't want to be that. Maybe Cara is not that. I don't know, right? If it's a place for artists to hang out and build a community, that's nice, right? That's great. But with like, if I have to spend time on it, right? Like I'm always wondering, totally business minded, right? Like, is this going to be useful? I don't know. I have no idea, because I'm always like, I want to, if I post something online, like I'm doing so with the intention to maybe like get more jobs, right? And hopefully promote myself, right? And I think a lot of people do think the same. I'm always wondering, like, if I didn't have to worry about that part, would I still post anything online? And I don't know. I'm on, like, or would I post completely different things online? Would I change what I'm uploading, right? If it's not about the work, right? Because honestly, I don't have any personal accounts. Like I don't upload any personal imagery or any like personal as in like family, like my personal life kind of thing. I don't share anything like that. I know a lot of people do, but I'm purely using social media for like promotion and like work purposes, right? And I think it comes down to what you said before, like different people use this thing in different ways and have different expectations. And it can't be everything for everybody. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm very conflicted about this whole thing. And it's not, about whether or not Cara is good, right? So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, and we're not here to endorse or talk against Cara.
No.
You know, honestly, it's everybody uses it in the way they you know, in the way they feel like helps them. But I would say, of course, don't leave Instagram quite yet, because you know, like, you know, you do have to secure a following, or else you're going to Cara and then people are being frustrated because they have no followers and then they're upset, and you know, and it's understandable because now you go from an established platform to a not established platform, and you know, it's still, Cara's still finding out what it is.
Right.
You know, and that's ultimately that's how it is. And I think for me, you know, answer to your question is that I personally don't. I mean, I do upload professional work, but I mean, a lot of times I'm not doing it to get a job. I'm doing it mainly to put it out there and to share, you know, because I think a lot of the personal stuff I do is very, very personal, and it carries with a lot of expression and wanting to share with the outside world. And then, you know, I think that's the rewarding part is when, you know, somebody, you know, comes back and says, well, you know, I felt that, you know, or, hey, I like that. And so, you know, and of course, you know, now that, you know, I'm doing sculpting, and at some point I'm going to start, you know, showing that. And it's just a good way for me, you know. But I think, you know, in terms of platform wise, I don't know. But I will say that I prefer, the only thing that Instagram has over Cara is that you've got a lot of non-art people looking at it, right? But the thing is, I really don't like the way Instagram is just, you know, the images are tiny.
Yeah, the quality is really crap.
And it's awful, right? Because it's just one of those things where, you know, you're like, you know, the you can't even see anything bigger than, you know, like, I keep pinching it and it's just like tiny.
Yeah,
I hate that. I really hate that, and that's just a shitty art, you know.
It's bad for art,
way
right?
to view.
And the restrictions in terms of like, I mean, everything's favored in terms of like a vertical format, right? And then I'm sure a lot of people migrated to that kind of format, whereas like, I don't know, in movies you like, and reels and shit, right? And it's like, what did I want to say? Like, but maybe it's also was a very conscious decision in the beginning, because anticipation of like the amount of traffic and storage that it needs, right? Whereas like if you store like high resolution images all the time from like millions of users, that's going to eat up a lot of server space, right? And that needs to be also understood, right? And maybe it was a very conscious decision of Instagram in the beginning to do that, right? We never know.
Yeah, but that's also kind of, you know, like as an art viewing platform. I mean, Twitter is better.
Of course,
you know,
yeah,
ArtStation's better, and I think Cara, like I said, it's more like a social art station than it is Instagram, right? Because I think Instagram, honestly, it's become this thing that's just like reels, and it's just I don't really like it because it just keeps shoving stuff down my throat.
Yeah, that I don't want to see.
But I like Cara because I don't need to go, oh God, every two posts is a sponsored post, is a suggested post, and I'm just so sick of it.
You don't see what you want to see, the people you follow and the people who
that's the other thing.
Share things. The work's not seen by the followers.
On Cara, you can choose the percentage of people you follow, and then new people and all that. You can choose that. So
that's nice.
and just to make it clear, there's no AI allowed on Cara.
Right.
So just people know, I mean, that is a big distinction because, there's AI on our station, there's AI on Instagram, but she's making every effort to not allow that. Now, how? I don't know.
Yeah.
All I can say that's what's happening. And I know that she's doing everything she can to prevent scraping. But at some point, I mean, I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, and there's different uses of, I mean, we talked about the ethics of AI and whatever, right? But I think one thing is clear that in some form or another, I think a lot of images will be touched by AI if we know it or even if we don't, right? Like, for example, like image upscale or sharpening algorithms might be already relying heavily on AI to do that work, right? And then if you do that, like, is it considered that you used AI in your workflow, right? Or if you just like let's say you have like a big image, 5,000 pixels, and you just have a tiny change you want to make, and it's I don't know, Adobe, whatever other app, right? It's using some AI algorithm to with a clone stamp tool. I have no idea, right? We don't really know what's happening under the hood. Is that considered AI? Is that going to be flagged when I upload it to Cara, right? It's like, I do like the approach, right? I do love what it stands for, right? I do fully agree with that. I'm just wondering, like, in the future, like, I think it's going to be so difficult to distinguish what is AI, what is not, and it's going to get blurred. And where does the stance will get you, right? Like I have no idea. It's like so many unknowns. It's such a minefield.
I think it's interesting, but I ultimately think the most important thing, and this is just me, my opinion, how I'm living my life is, I'm going to go back, take all that energy
exactly,
and make something good. Forget all this stuff, because ultimately, like I said, in the end, I do what I can to support. Like, okay, Cara, I Jingna has there's a buy me a coffee link
right
up there, which I would absolutely say, if this is of any use to you, donate a couple bucks, because the truth of it is they're paying tens of thousands more than they anticipated,
exactly,
because of all this. And and I will go and put myself there and donate, because I feel like I want to promote the things that are helping me, or I'll donate to the CAA, like the whole going to like fight for go and bring a lawsuit against Midjourney and stuff like that. I'm helping. That's my way of helping, right? But I can't do what Carla is doing,
right,
which is she's actually doing the legwork and she's being super vocal, but that takes energy, and it's energy I don't have.
Right.
I just don't have it, because that would take over my whole life. Yeah. And then I would become a miserable person, and then come on the podcast and start yelling at you.
I think it's a good thing that you mentioned, I think, before, that not everybody can fight the same way, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean you should feel guilty about not standing in court and like yelling at these people.
Everybody has their role.
Right. And we have to be okay with that, and we shouldn't feel guilty for okay, I can't do that. I mean, don't be complacent either. Don't ignore it and put your head in the sand and say oh, well, this is how it is. I guess I'll use AI. It's that is the opposite side, right? But to say okay, I do what I can. But at the end of the day, we still need to make sure that we are we retain the right headspace.
Yeah. Right? And none of these topics have any resolution at this point. It's just bringing up stuff and just saying, hey guys, there is this thing. These are the this is some of the story behind it. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I just want a lot of this to be discussions really between us.
Well, it
And
needs to be. It
you know,
needs
if
to be.
yeah, and if someone benefits, because I mean, you know, we talked about the whole Photoshop thing, you know, and you know, I'm trying out Affinity Photo just to see, you know, what it's about, because there needs to be options for people.
Yeah. We should
It
talk
can't
about
be
that.
just such a monopoly, but that's, you know, that's in the future. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you know, maybe we'll do an episode on
Yeah,
it.
we should.
If people want to hear, you know, like what I think of painting in it, you know, does it, you know, is it a replacement? I don't know.
Right.
But we got to give it a shot, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It's like when Blender came out, well, not came out, but when it got hit, you know, hot, and I, you know, I was still using Maya, and you know, it took me the longest time to convert, but I'm like, ultimately, it's such a better replacement that I'm like, you know, and you know, it's not like Autodesk didn't do anything, but you know, like right now, Adobe's in really hot water, so you know, a lot of people want to leave, and I understand that. And me included, because I don't really like what they're saying and how this is all unfolding.
Yeah.
But that's another.
Yeah, that's another episode. That's another episode. We should definitely talk
Yeah.
about that, right? Because it's different. I mean, it's a different aspect of like a similar kind of, like it's a different aspect, but a similar kind of underlying issue, right? We will talk about that. Let's stay on
Yeah.
social media, right? I was like, one thing I was wondering about is, yeah, on the internet, right? Like it's very easy to, and especially on social media, right? It's very easily to get swept up in something. It's like everything needs to be about outrage, and we, like you said in the beginning, right? Everybody needs something. Everybody needs a new thing to be upset about, right? And a lot of times, like there's a wave of things, right? That's why Cara I mean, it had a good effect, right? That Cara got so popular, right? It's also good.
Yeah.
But then underlying it is just like this crazy outrage and this crazy virality of like bad things that people get upset about, and then it's getting reposted, and people like share screenshots of how to like opt out, and that's good. But like I feel oftentimes people are reposting and people are getting outraged about things that they don't fully understand, and that are very dependent on where you live and the circumstances, and also about like it makes people forget what, like I feel like it almost makes people forget what they really use social media for and what it's supposed to be about, and it just becomes this crazy outrage machine that everybody just hops on, and we don't even know where this is going, and it's gathering steam, and I feel it's just like not a good way to kind of like spend your day, like you said. It's dragging you down, and I mean, again, it has a good outcome sometimes, but then a good side effect maybe. But overall, I feel like we should pay more attention to like what we're reading and what we're sharing, because a lot of times these things also can do a lot of damage, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that people, when they do, you know, everybody gets together and say, hey, you know, we have to speak up. So everybody puts comments, they speak up in the way they know how. That does make a difference. So I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying don't let it run your life, because I'm the first one to say, I used to be a person, I'm just looking for drama. I'm just looking for it. And drama. Oh yeah, I'm going to feed off of this. Fuck, you know, I just get pissed off. But in the end, I end up going, well, I just spent the whole day being pissed. And then I just yelled at my wife for no reason because I'm pissed. And then I'm just, you know, and I'm just like, all right, at some point, I do what I can. And then I just kind of go, you know, I'm going to take the rest of my energy and just spend it in a positive way.
But
you know, maybe be more pro things instead of anti things.
Maybe, yeah.
You know that.
And the thing is, right?
You know, pro Cara, forget anti Instagram, right? Just pro something else.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way. I mean, it's looking at the same thing but in a different light, right? And that's maybe a good way. I mean, and the thing is with social media, right? It like, I feel like it doesn't give you like one big outrage like to focus on, and then like You go
Because
about
if
the
you
rest
look
of
at social media, though,
it's like
sorry,
little,
go ahead.
no, it's like little bits and pieces that add up, and you almost don't notice it, how it feeds you one crappy thing after the other, and then in the end you just like really in a really bad state of mind after consuming like little bits and pieces of like outrage and crazy things. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I mean, what I was going to say was there's always something to be pissed about in the world.
Yeah.
Always.
That's how
So
news works.
if you really want to look for it, you're going to find it. If it's not Adobe, it's Instagram. If it's not Instagram, it's something else. Autodesk, and then the jobs, and this. There's always going to be something. And I think a lot of that takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy, man. And I think just be careful where the energy is going. Because ultimately, that's your life. It's where you're putting all this energy. If you're putting it all in the wrong place, then life's not going to look very good to you. Yeah. And I think, ultimately, if you can, try to look at it more positively. If you can't look at that thing that's really negative, look at the positive. That's all I got, because that's how it's getting me through. Right. But yeah, I mean, I think... I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, in Jingna's case,
there's no answer, right? I mean,
no, there's no answer. But I think Jingna, I mean, like it's like I think Jingna found a very good way to like convert that rage into like productivity and make Cara out of that, right? Like she looked at it and was like, "This is bad. So what good can we do?" Right? And this is kind of where Cara came out of, I think.
And I got to say thank you to her, because I didn't make a website and do all this stuff. I mean, she actually did the thing, and I'm sure there's people criticizing it. It's broken, and blah blah blah. But the thing is, just try to have a little understanding on when you scale from 50,000 to 1 million people, you got to give it some credit for doing what it's already running really well. For what it is. So. I'd say, people who want to bet on it, do some donations. I think it can't hurt. While she maybe comes up with a really solid plan on how to maintain this and scale it up, because, she needs time, right, to figure out, because she's not dumb at all. She's very smart, and she just needs time to get the right people in to say, hey, how do we scale and what do we want for this site? And I think then it's going to be great. I mean, because ArtStation didn't grow this big that quickly.
No. It took quite a while, right?
I mean, her the app is like way up,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just pretty amazing. So, yeah, I just think, that's a little backstory, and, it's a little thought on social media. Try not to put all your time into it.
But don't
social media
too much, right? That's the usual.
Yeah, ultimately, in the end, it's just, you got to look at it as another app that takes your attention away. So, really consider, But, this is also the best time to sort of gain traction. It's when, a site is fresh and new and everybody's on there and everybody
talking
wants,
about it, right?
So maybe it's the best time to, spend a little time. I mean, maybe it is a business strategy. Because I'm sure she's going to have like job boards and all this kind of stuff happening on it. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know what her plans are, and we'll keep trying to get her on and see if she can just speak for herself, and we'll just see what happens. But yeah, that's Cara. Go check it out.
Well, we tell you to get off social media, but please continue to watch our podcast, okay? That's how you should.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
Spend some good time.
So you were talking about the whole reach, and how, I don't know, for some reason it's, the algorithm or whatever is dropped, and I think it would be really good to, if you enjoy the show and you want more, share it, tell people about it. Let's try to get people involved, because we're doing this because we really, I mean, there's really nothing there for us except, hopefully we can share with you something that we might have gone through, or some things that we may research or whatever. So, it's really, we're doing this for you. And if you enjoy it, then please share it.
Yes, please help spread the word, right? Sign up to all the notifications you can, and really like help share the show And whatever episode you watch, right? It's not always about the newest one, right? We have some older ones that really are popular, and help share whatever you can on the social networks, right? And that would really like just help us make. Well,
I mean, another thing is a question is,
Yes.
share, write in the comments, like, what do you want to hear? What would you like us to talk about? What would, what is that? What guest would you want on, and why? Let us know. And then we can see how we can make that happen.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in yet again. I hope this was useful. A bit more like a topic on top of the times. I think we're going to get into some more trendy. I think we need to talk about the whole Adobe thing. I think that's going to be important. And
But also we'll talk about Adobe, but also what are some of the alternatives?
Of course. I mean,
let's try the alternatives.
Yes.
Because I know even for you're using DaVinci Resolve,
yes.
and you're not using Premiere, so maybe you can talk about that too.
Yeah. No, we will get into the Adobe topic, like around their change of plans or whatever they have in mind, right? And their backtracking and eroding of trust, right? And that will be a good topic to talk about. Anyway, thank you so much again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.